The European Union and Italy have agreed a truce to end months of a bitter row over the country's much-disputed budget for next year. Extensive reforms and tax breaks planned by its Eurosceptic government would have put Italy on course to break Eurozone fiscal rules. Now, that drew the threat of sanctions from Brussels, even though several other countries are also in the red. Currently, all 19 countries which use the euro currency must observe a deficit ceiling of 3% of output, known as GDP. Spain, Belgium, Portugal and Slovenia are among the nations which have also had a telling off for breaching EU deficit rules. But it is France's big spending plans for next year that's got Italian politicians riled. Paris is projecting a 3.2% deficit for 2019. And while Rome was threatened with sanctions, the EU has signalled France won't be punished. It's that perceived discrepancy that's seen Italian leaders try to force through their budget since day one.
This is the first Italian budget that the EU doesn't like. No surprise. This is the first Italian budget written in Rome and not in Brussels.
The Italian economy is healthy, and this is an economic move that will give Italy the stability it needs. We won't change one comma in this document.
There isn't any plan B. You have to consider that we are not gamblers that are betting on our kids' future on the roulette.
OK, let's get reaction now from Italian MEP Ignazio Corrao from the Five Star Movement. Welcome to the programme. Why has the government in Italy capitulated over the budget? Is it an admission that it got its numbers wrong?
No, not really. Actually, we overestimate our measure when we first presented the draft of the first budget, and afterwards we asked our minister inside the offices in the ministers to check again if the numbers were correct. And well, there were some billion to cut because we overestimate the measures in the first draft. So that was it. But actually, the budget that was approved, because we had an agreement today, is a budget that changed the idea of our country about measures. This is a complete different budget compared with the last ones, the budget presented by the last governments. And it's a budget where Italy thinks about its people, think about poor, think about people who have suffered the European policies during the last years. So we are very, very satisfied about it.
But are your voters satisfied about it? Because would some of the public not be looking upon this as the government not making good on its promises?
Well, actually, all the promises that we have done during the electoral campaign, I'm talking about the Five Star Movement, we are governing with another political force, there is Lega, but all the main point that we will build our electoral campaign are inside this budget. So we are actually very, very satisfied. There are things that are completely revolutionary for our country. Think that during all last years, the main measures of Italian budget were decided here in Brussels, and now there is a completely different approach where the Italian priorities are inside, and probably it's a different point and approach with the European Commission.
Let me just ask you, though, Italy has long complained of double standards in this regard, and France's latest budget angered many, particularly where you are. The EC, European Commission, insists that France will be held to the same rules, no special treatment. So is there an issue at all then?
Well, there is a problem. It's a general problem we have with the functioning of the European institutions, because we have a European Commission that was appointed in 2014, and nowadays we are almost in 2019. They don't represent anymore the political situation that was in Europe. And to make an example, clearly, Moscovici the commissioner, which is French, is having a very different approach towards Italy and France. This should be completely unacceptable. And we have nothing against France, and we hope that the French can do some expansionary measures in order to have a better living for the French people. We are all Europeans, but we cannot accept two standards, two different approach with two of the main countries of Europe. So we hope that the new Commission, the new European Commission that will come out from the next election in May will be different. Otherwise, we don't see much for Europe.
Well, we appreciate you coming on the programme and sharing your views with us today. Italian MEP Ignazio Corrao from the Five Star Movement.
Thank you very much.